COP26, the UN Climate Summit, but as of now, wala pang final COP26 covered decision, meaning the talks are going overtime. So today, it's Friday night. It's probably going to bleed into tomorrow morning, might even be past that. Basically, matatapos ang COP26 pag lumabas na ang isang cover decision na naglalaman ng lahat ng pinag-agrihan ng mga bansa dito sa Glasgow. So, almost 200 countries are here in Glasgow to try to finalize this decision, and hanggang ngayon wala pa. So, bakit? Bakit nag-overtime? I'm going to give you an overview of why it's taking this long, why nag-bleed into past the deadline yung COP26, and basically it's really just the difference between what developing countries want, including the Philippines, and what developed countries want. So ano ba ang gusto ng developing countries na inaayaw ng mga developed nations? So basically ano yan, number one, pera, usapang pera. So yung developing countries kasama na ang Pilipinas, gusto natin at least double yung mga pledges ng developed countries doon sa assistance, financial assistance na ibibigay sa mga developing countries para mag-survive ng climate change impacts. For example, protecting communities from typhoons, extreme weather events, droughts, intense heat, mga ganyan. We need funding to be able to survive those impacts. We need funding to protect communities from those impacts. At sinasabi natin na kailangan pa natin na hindi sapat yung mga na-promise na ng developed countries, which is $100 billion a year dapat starting 2020, pero hindi pa nila nabibigay itong pera na to. Sinasabi ng developed countries na baka 2023 pwede na, pero syempre, ano pa yan, 2 years from now, so malaking up in the air pa yan. Meanwhile, developing countries are saying we need even more than 100 billion, dapat at least double 100 billion a year, so 200 billion a year. Kasi, number one, COVID-19, diba, yung mga developing countries are really struggling to recover from the pandemic. Plus the fact that climate change impacts are already being felt here in the Philippines and in other developing countries. Yung mga small island Pacific states, lumulubog na sila at, sinasabi nila baka wala na sila in 10 years time, who knows, diba? Because of sea level rise. So, yun yung isang sticky point. A second point that developing countries want is more ambitious targets on reducing carbon emissions. So alam natin na carbon emissions warm the planet, and right now meron tayong target to keep it under 1.5 degrees warming. Sinasabi ng mga developing countries na dapat every year tinataas yung mga targets ng mga bansa. So dapat every year may review. Kasi currently dun sa Paris Agreement, every 5 years lang yung review na ito. So yung ibang developed countries ayaw dito kasi gusto nila stick to the 5 years. Para too much to ask daw yung every year. So isang pinaglalabanan yun. Third is we also want more money to also address the loss and damages from climate change impacts na talagang devastating. Diba? Kasi may mga typhoons, for example, like Yolanda or sea level rise na kahit anong gawin mong preparation, talagang malaki yung danyos niya sa economy ng developing country at sa tao. So, kailangan daw sinasabi ng mga developing countries, kailangan may separate funding for this. At yun, basically gusto ng bagong finance stream, bagong source of funds for this na wala pa ngayon sa Paris Agreement, sa kahit anong agreement. So, yung ibang developed countries ayaw din dito kasi sinasabi nila para naman pagkuhanan yung fund na yan dun sa existing na pondo na inaayaw naman ng developing countries kasi sinasabi nila hindi sapat. Fourth issue is yung issue of fossil fuel subsidies. So, importante ito kasi fossil fuels, yun yung main source of greenhouse gas emissions. Yun yung main problem ng mundo. Kailangan bawasan natin yung fossil fuel na ginagamit natin. At maraming mga bansa dito, including developed countries, even the United States, gusto nila na wala ng subsidies for fossil fuel. Ano ba ang subsidies? So subsidies parang basically pera yan na binibigay sa fossil fuel industry para bumaba yung presyo ng fossil fuels like oil, petroleum, etc. So nakakatulong yan sa industriya ng fossil fuels kasi mas maraming magko-consume sa kanila, nakakatulong sa kanilang finances. So at yung nangyayari dyan, hindi na nakakapag-compete, for example, yung renewable energy. So yung sinasabi ng mga maraming bansa, dapat tanggalin na yung support ng fossil fuel industry talaga, totally, and mag-move na talaga tayo to renewable energy. Pero maraming mga bansa, and notably of course yung mga countries who depend on oil for their economies, diba? Yung mga oil producing countries like in the Middle East, syempre ayaw nila yon. Gusto nila parang hindi sila payag dun kasi sobrang reliant nga yung kanilang economies dun sa fossil fuels. At marami, syempre, yung fossil fuel companies ayaw rin nun. So, talagang mahirap siya. And right now, negotiators are finding a way to kind of find a balance in the wording. Kasi syempre, labanan to ng wording. So, for example, dun sa fossil fuels, minention pa rin yung fossil fuels na kailangan na problema siya, which is a big deal kasi in the 25 years na negotiate ang mundo about climate change, never na mention sa ni isang climate change agreement ang fossil fuels, which is, if you think about it, really, really strange, diba? Kasi nga fossil fuels are the main cause of global warming. So, pero yun na nga, pinagdadebatihan pa yung wording doon. Kasi sinasabi ng mga dapat daw may konting space and flexibility daw to allow a certain amount or a certain level of fossil fuels for a while. So syempre linalaban yan ng mga developing countries or most of them at least. Now so yung Pilipinas, actually yung stance natin dyan is we still say that we need coal kasi kailangan yun for base load para maging tuloy-tuloy yung ating electricity. So even if we did stop the issuing of new permits for coal-fired plants, we stopped the new applications, go pa rin yung mga na-approve ng coal-fired power plants. Kasi nga yung economy natin, according to the government, kailangan pa raw yung coal. But of course, we have activists who are saying na hindi. Dapat i-phase out na yan completely, or at least dapat may plan na to retire all of those coal-fired plants already. So, yun yung mga issues na hinihintay ng mga tao dito sa Glasgow kung maayos ba ng negotiators yung agreement. Inaasahan natin na tomorrow, early morning, really convene yung plenary para tuloy-tuloy yung pag-uusap. At when the final gavel closes or is pounded, that's when the COP26 will end. But until then, since wala pang cover decision, wala pang closing, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang ating pag-monitor dito sa Glasgow. Once again, I'm Pia Renada. Thanks for